The spray paint hissed like a snake, and Karen's face twisted into a smirk that could curdle milk. She didn't just deface the car, she baptized it in neon green, as if her rage could rewrite the rules of the neighborhood. It was a quiet Saturday in Willow Creek, a cookie-cutter suburb where the biggest scandals usually involved misplaced recycling bins. Karen, 48, self-appointed guardian of the cul-de-sac, had been simmering for weeks. The new neighbors, Jake and Mia, parked their beat-up Honda Civic an inch over her driveway line. An inch. To Karen, it was a declaration of war. She'd left passive-aggressive notes under their wipers, 3, to be exact, each sharper than the last. "Learn to park," the first read. "You're disrespecting my property," said the second. The third was just a smiley face with a middle finger drawn in red marker. Jake and Mia, both in their late 20s, laughed it off at first. They were renters new to the area, scraping by on gig jobs and dreams of something better. They didn't have time for Karen's petty crusades. But Karen had time. Too much time. She'd spent years polishing her reputation as the neighborhood's unofficial enforcer, reporting unmowed lawns, lecturing kids on skateboards, and once calling the HOA because someone's Christmas lights were too blue. To her, Jake and Mia's car wasn't just a parking error. It was a personal affront, a challenge to her authority. That Saturday, after a glass of rose too many, she saw the Civic's bumper kissing her driveway line again. Something snapped. She grabbed a can of spray paint from her garage, a leftover from a failed DIY project, and marched outside. The first arc of paint hit the Honda's hood like a slap. Karen didn't stop. She wrote "move" in jagged letters across the windshield, then swirled chaotic loops over the doors. The neon green glowed under the streetlights, a garish beacon of her fury. She stepped back, panting, admiring her work. That's when Jake stepped out of his house, coffee mug in hand, and froze. "What the hell are you doing?" he shouted, his voice cracking with disbelief. Mia appeared behind him, her phone already recording. Karen spun around, paint can still in hand, and sneered. "You parked like an idiot. This is what you get." The argument exploded. Jake's voice shook as he demanded answers, while Mia's sharp accusations cut through the air. "You're insane. This is our car." Karen doubled down, her voice rising to a shrill pitch. "You disrespected my property. You think you can just move in and ruin this neighborhood?" Neighbors peeked from behind curtains, some stepping onto their porches. A crowd was forming, and Karen thrived on it. She waved the spray paint can like a scepter, declaring, "This is what happens when people don't follow rules." Jake, red-faced, dialed 911. Mia's video captured every second Karen's defiance. The dripping paint, the gathering onlookers. It was raw, ugly, and viral by morning. The police arrived within minutes, their sirens slicing through the tension. Officer Daniels, a veteran with zero patience for suburban drama, surveyed the scene. Karen stood tall, unapologetic, as if she'd just won a moral victory. "They blocked my driveway," she insisted, pointing at the Civic. Daniels measured the distance less than 3 inches over the line. He raised an eyebrow. "Ma'am, this doesn't justify vandalism." Karen's face fell, but she didn't back down. She launched into a tirade about respect, community standards, and how new people were ruining Willow Creek. Daniels cut her off. "You're under arrest for property damage." The cuffs clicked, and Karen's bravado crumbled. The neighbors gasped, some whispering, others openly filming. Mia's video, now live on social media, racked up thousands of views. Comments poured in. "Karen's at it again. Entitled much?" and "Justice served." But Jake and Mia weren't celebrating. The car, their only reliable transport, was a mess. The paint wouldn't come off without professional help, and their budget was already stretched thin. Mia, a graphic designer, had a gig the next day she couldn't miss. Jake, a delivery driver, needed the car for his shifts. The damage wasn't just cosmetic, it was a gut punch to their fragile stability. At the station, Karen's story unraveled. She claimed she'd lost control, but showed no remorse. The police charged her with vandalism and property damage, setting a court date. The judge, unimpressed by her self-righteous defense, fined her $1,500 and ordered restitution to cover the car's repairs. $2,800, a sum that made Karen blanch. She'd expected a slap on the wrist, maybe a warning. Instead, she was handed a bill she couldn't easily pay. Her husband, a quiet man who'd long stopped challenging her outbursts, sat silently in the courtroom, his face a mask of resignation. Back in Willow Creek, the neighborhood buzzed with gossip. Some sympathized with Karen, arguing the newcomers should have been more considerate. Others saw her as a bully who'd finally met consequences. The HOA held an emergency meeting, where Karen's allies, mostly older residents, clashed with younger families who saw her actions as unhinged. The community split not just over a car, but over what it meant to belong. Jake and Mia, meanwhile, struggled. The repair shop quoted a week to fix the car, forcing them to borrow a friend's vehicle and juggle schedules. Mia's video kept gaining traction, turning their private struggle into a public spectacle. They hated the attention but couldn't afford to stay silent. Karen's life unraveled in quieter ways. Her husband started sleeping in the guest room. Her book club forgot to invite her. The HOA, once her stage, began discussing her behavior behind closed doors. She'd always seen herself as the neighborhood's protector, but now she was its pariah. She spent evenings alone, scrolling through the comments on Mia's video, each one a dagger. Entitled Karen, spray paint psycho, hope she pays for life. She wanted to fight back, to post her side, but her lawyer warned against it. The internet had already judged her. The court-ordered restitution hit hardest. Karen drained her savings to pay it, muttering about unfairness as she wrote the check. Jake and Mia used the money to fix the car, but the ordeal left scars. They moved out of Willow Creek a month later, unable to shake the feeling of being watched, judged, exposed. Their new place was smaller, farther from work, but it was free of Karen's shadow. They never spoke of her again, but the memory of that neon green paint lingered, a reminder of how quickly things could spiral. Karen, too, carried the weight. She stopped patrolling the neighborhood, her fire doused by shame and debt. The Civic was gone, but so was her sense of control. She'd wanted to teach a lesson, to assert her place, but all she'd done was unravel her own life. The wooden fence by her driveway, where she'd once hung a welcome sign, now stood bare, a silent witness to her fall. In the end, Willow Creek moved on. New families arrived, new dramas brewed. But Karen's story lingered, a cautionary tale whispered at barbecues and PTA meetings. It wasn't just about a car or a can of paint, it was about how far someone could go when pride trumped reason, and how a single act could ripple through lives, leaving no one untouched. Was Karen a villain, or just a woman pushed too far by her own rules? Share your thoughts. Where do you draw the line between justice and revenge?